Hello friends, welcome to another video on socket programming in C. In this video we are going to build a simple Chatroom application where multiple clients can connect to the server and all these clients can communicate with each other simultaneously. So here we are going to use the threads for that simultaneous communication purpose. So we have two parts. First is the server and second is the client. So first we are going to write the server part. So let's begin the code. So we have defined the basic things. Now let's define some variable first. Okay, some are going to be used currently, some are going to be used later in the part of the code. So just I'm going to write them first. Struct show kdir underscore in serve let write serve addr. Again same, let me copy this. The client, this structure is going to for the client. Next thread type tid. Okay, now socket settings. Listen fd socket af underscore init. Okay, as we are using a TCP connection, so here I'm going to write the sock stream and next is 0. Now I'm going to fill up this enter the structure, the serve addr dot send family. Family is going to be the af init. Next serve addr dot send addr and s addr. So here we're going to fill up the IP address. Oh no, it's going to be listen. Next is the server addr dot send port, and here we're going to enter the port number on which the IP is going to bind. They both bind together and a connection opens, and the server is going to listen on this specific IP and port combination. Now we are going to have some pipe signals. Signals are basically software generated interrupts. Okay. Next we are going to set the set sock opt. Set sock t. Okay, on the listen fd sol socket. Okay, so use port. So use addr. Okay, next is the char pointer to char and the option which we have written above, and size of option less than 0. Then there's an error set sock opt a new line character, and we're going to return here as exit failure because we have not successfully exited and returned the program. So next we are going to write the bind function. If bind, first we are going to the socket file descriptor and then the struct socket dir pointer the serve addr, and then the size of serve addr, and if it is less than 0, this means it has error. Oh, it's printf. Actually I write some code in Python also, that's why sometime I made mistakes. Instead of printf I write print error, so bind error, and same exit return failure. Okay, so if bind is successfully completed, the next is the server is going to listen. So if listen socket file descriptor, listen fd, is this right? Oh, this is right. Up to 10 backlogs is less than 0, that means we have to again write an printf error, and the error is going to be listen. This is what has caused the error, and exit failure. Okay, now if all this is successfully completed, this means that now the server is start listening, because we are working on a chat room program. So give it a nice message, that's like this: welcome to the chat room. Okay, so till now I've written the code. We will check this code if it is correct or any problem. So we will compile it. I have created a make file. Okay, it is not compiled, it's all okay. We have some warnings because we have some unused thread, but not any error. Let's run the server. If you don't provide any port, it will give this message and exit. Now we need to provide it a port number. So you can see it's running successfully, and it displays welcome to chat room message. Okay, so now we need to write the next program. Okay, next is going to be the loop, infinite loop. That is going to communicate with the client. It's going to receive message from the clients, and it's going to send it to other clients. So that's the whole thing is going to be working here. So let's work on that infinite loop while so client T CLI len. Okay, size of CLI addr. Okay, connection FT accept. If a client connects, then we are going to accept the connection. Struct or uct struct. Okay, so addr point ampersand CLI addr and CLI length. Okay, length. Now if the client connects, so we have specified a limit for the maximum number of clients that can be connected. First we will check that if the maximum client hasn't reached, then it will connect, otherwise we will disconnect the client. Check for max client. Okay, so for max client we need to have a variable. Now we will define a global variable, okay, where we have the count of the number of clients. So let's define that: static atomic unsigned int CLI count. Let's define it 0, and let's define another variable: static int UID is equals to 10. It should be 10. So we are going to need these two things. We need to define other more things also here, but let's first go to that while loop first, and we will code the while loop first. Now what we need to check for the max client. If CLI count plus 1 is equal to max client, then what we need to do, then we will print a message max clients connected. Maximum, let's write maximum clients connected, connection rejected. Okay, connection rejected. So that's we are going to print here. We can even print the IP address of this client which trying to connect, but before that we have to write the function to print the IP address. Okay, now we will close that connection and continue. So what I want here is the print the IP address of that client, so we can see from where it's trying to connect us. So I will write a function here and we will define it above. Print client, not print IP ADDR. Okay, CLI ADDR. Okay, we will print the IP and we have this function. So let's go on to this function and see how we're going to write it. We simply need to print the IP address from there. You can see here we have the IP address. So sin underscore ADDR, then dot s underscore ADDR. So let's define this function above here. So what is going to return? It's void. So it's going to struct so ADDR n ADDR. Okay, so we need to print the IP address. So let's write the printf function here. So it's going to be in 2 portion, not 2 portion, the 4 portions. So and every portion is going to be an integer. Let's start from ADDR dot sin ADDR dot s ADDR. Okay, ampersand 0x ff. Okay, comma, next ADDR. Let's copy this thing from here, the whole thing, because it's going to be repeat every time, and this last value will remain the same, ff and 00. Okay, next just align it correctly. I've forgotten one thing I have to do, that is we need to add some shifting also. Now 0x ff and 4 zeros. Okay, some shifting here, 16 again, zero x ff and 6 zeros, 1 2 3 4 5 6. Here we have 24. Okay, now we have successfully printed the IP address. Now we will run this function and see if there is any error or not. If it's give us any error or not. Let's compile this. Okay, I think we have some problem. main we have warning file input server.c not okay. So we have server.c line 10, some problem is there. Not expected client Scotty restricted and rest or all are the unused variable warning. I think the problem is of, let me check where this very let's do one thing, just simply try to connect as a client using a telnet prompt, and let's see max client to be is 0. Another window, let's place it here, place them here, and let me compile it. And I don't think it would compile like this. It will certainly cause an error. We need to check this error. So I've successfully corrected some mistake here, and now we'll compile it again, and this time no error, just unused variable. Enter the server, giving it a port. You can see welcome to Chatroom chat program, and this while loop is running. So that's why it's not exiting, the program. So let's use telnet localhost and same port number. Okay, it's connecting. Let me send something, and I think it's showing nothing. Seems like anywhere. I don't know how to exit that. So I think we need to just have our own client. So let's exit this and check it once we have built our own client in the client.c file. We'll see that we have built it. Okay, now let's continue with our program, and we are inside this while loop, and first we accept the connection to the client, and then we have checked for the maximum number of client. Okay, now after that we have some fair work. So after that we have client settings. So we have clients. After that clients, we start receiving data from the clients, and because we are dealing with multiple clients, so we cannot do it like this. So we are going to define a data type, a structure data type for the client information to be stored. So we are going to define that, the client structure. The client structure is going to store the client addresses, its socket descriptor, and its user ID and its name. Okay, so the each other client can, so that we can differentiate every client from each other. Type def struct and struct socket DDR end and the address. Okay, next is the socket file descriptor, sock fd, the int uid, then the name, char name, and the name length. Okay, now let's define this name length. Define name length as 32. Now let's correct this. So we have defined this structure. So this structure is going to first contain the address information about that, then the socket file descriptor, then the user ID, and this user ID is going to be unique for every client, and this is the name of the client. Okay, next, because we have a number of clients, so let's define an array for it. Okay, the structure is still incomplete. Client and T. Now this became our data type, and we define a pointer to this data type clients and max client which we want to define. Okay, so let's define some more thing also, because here we will deal with thread, so we will write some more variables, define some variable related to thread like pthread mutex, client mutex, and this mutex we are going to require when we are going to send the message between the clients. Okay, pthread mutex initializer. Okay, so we have defined the client mutex. Now some more function we need to write. So this is the one line, and next one is flush it, flush standard output. So that's the one function, and second function we need to write for the trimming of the character. Character char pointer array and its length. Should be length and I plus plus if arr array I is going to be the new line character, then we're going to change it to this end of the character array, and we're going to break that loop. So that's a simple program. So, and the next two functions are important. So the next two functions we write is the how to add client into the queue, that is this client array, the client that's called T array, and how to remove those clients from that array. Okay, so in place of array you can easily write the linked list also. A single linked list is going to be much better, but this array is not even that worse. We can also write that using that array. Q add. Okay, so what are we going to get as the client information. So now we are going to use our pthread mutex. Pthread mutex lock. So we are going to lock that here. Ampersand the client mutex. Okay. So first we are going to lock it, and at the last we are going to unlock it. So let me just write both this line once. Unlock. Now in between those we are going to write our code to add the client into the array. For int I is equals to 0, max client I plus plus, okay, if ampersand clients I. If it's not a client, nothing is there, then client I is equals to CL, and we will break it here. And next program we are going to how we are going to remove the client from that array. Remove. So here we use the UID, that we have a global variable we have defined. So every client is going to have a UID, and we will use that UID to remove the client. So we will need these mutex, lock and unlock system, same for loop, max clients I plus plus, and this for loop opens. Okay, now if client exists at the index I, then we'll check if it's the same client we are looking for. If the client UID is same as the UID provided as the parameter in the function, then make the client I as null and then break, because we have found the client that we want to remove. So that's the code, is simple code. Okay, now we have written both the function to add the client to the queue and to remove the client from the queue. Now we have to write another function, that is for sending message to all the clients except the sender itself. So write that function also, and the parameter take is the message that you want to send to all the other clients, and the user ID, UID of the client who's sending this message. Again we require those mutex, lock and unlock system, so here it's going to be little long code, next client, and increment the I. If client exists, clients I exist, then if clients I UID is not equal to the UID provided, okay, then we're going to send the message. If write clients I the socket file descriptor and send the message as whose length is, using this function, is less than 0, then it means they have an error. Printf error, write to descriptor. So we are unable to write to the descriptor. And we're going to break here, break the loop here. Okay. So this simple function is complete. So this function do is take the message and the UID, the current user UID who's sending this message, and send the message to all the client except the current user. Okay. Now let's get back to our infinite while loop. So there it is. So we have checked for the maximum client. Now we need to define some client setting and add the client to the queue, and then create a thread and create another function to handle that client. Okay, the client settings. Client is T pointer CLI is equals to client T pointer malloc size of client underscore T, CLI address is equals to CLI ADDR. Okay, now CLI socket FD. this is going to CONN FD connection FD. That's we have accepted from the client here. The connection sockets descriptor we have accepted, and the CLI UID is equals to UID plus plus. So increment it. Now we're going to add the client to the queue. Now you can see that we haven't given this, still we haven't given it a name. We are going to give it a name when the client is going to send it to the server. So we are going to give it not here, just inside the handle, the other function. Just wait for it now. Add client to queue. Queue add CLI. Okay, now we will create a thread here. Pthread create ampersand TID. Okay, second is going to be null, and third is going to the function that we will create now. This is the handle client function. So the thing we need to do, reduce CPU uses. To reduce CPU uses, we are going to give it a sleep of 1 second, not one, just of 1 microsecond. Maybe here the one define the microsecond. If everything is correct successfully, then we are going to exit this function. So inside this handle, the handle client function, it's going to handle the client, the sending message and the receiving message and sending to all the other clients. So this will do it here. This is going to print a function, and this we can say the main function here. So the main function defined here. Let's see if we have any compilation error. Okay, now we need to have that error because we haven't defined this function, and rest I think we don't have any. Just some warnings which we are going to deal with easily. Some are there in this str function. Let's just check them out. And where are those? So first is there the ampersand n is n and the new line character. Okay, I think just this is this language problem. I think it made it small, and even that being small because it's a character. Just forgot. Now let's see. Okay, now just only one thing. This undefined function. As we haven't defined it, so we will define it now. Here, handle client. Okay. So this function will handle the client. So its return type is going to void pointer. Void point arg char buffer, some message being defined, buffer size, char name length, int leave flag. This is a flag which indicates that whether the client is connected or not, or there is an error, or so this will define this is defined. We should break that loop or not. We should disconnect the client or not. So now we are inside the client handle function, so we should increment the client count also. Pointer CLI is equals to client T pointer and arg. So first we are going to receive the name from the client. Okay, CLI FD socket file descriptor, the name length and that's going to 0. Just str name should be greater than 2, or if str length name is greater than equal to name length minus 1. Okay, then we'll print error, enter the name correctly and the new line character, and leaf flag is going to be 1. Else condition, if we correctly receive the name, then we are going to copy the name into the CLI name So if you have received the name, this means the client has joined the server. So we are going to send the message to the print the message to the server and send the message to all other clients who are already connected before the connection to this client. Send message to all the clients that this client has joined the chat room. Okay, buffer percentile s has joined. Okay, so this client has joined and his name is in the CLI name. Okay. Now we are going to print it on the server, percentile s buffer, and send it to all the other client, buffer and CLI UID. Okay, next. So we will correctly receive the name. If any error, the leaf flag is going to be 1, and we will exit this loop here, exit this function here, and now we are going to zero out the value of the buffer. Next, another while loop. The exchange of the messages. If leaf flag, then break. Now we have to receive the messages from the client. Receive equal to receive command CLI socket file descriptor, the buffer which we emptied above, zeros, buffer size and the 0. Okay, now we are into some conditions here. If receive is greater than 0, then we have some condition here, which means it's saving something. So we will check for the if str length of the buffer is greater than 0, which means it receives something. As its length is greater than, send message all other client, buffer CLI UID. Okay, then our str trim function, buffer strlen buffer. Okay, strlen buffer. Now we're going to print it on the server also, which client has sent message to which client. Okay, so that on the server we can also see the messages. Percentile s send message to this server. Okay, buffer and second is the client name to whom this message is sent. So this buffer will contain the name of the client whom is sent the message and to whom it is sent. Okay. Now the second condition, else if receive is equals to 0 or the client has sent a special symbol, special text, which is the exit, which means the client wants to exit the server. Then we are going to print the message. This next separate message the client has left, because we're going to disconnect that client. This is the name of the client. Now we're going to print it. Printf buffer. So send this message to all the other clients that this client has left the channel or means chat room. Buffer the client UID. Now leave flag equals to 1. Else if any other condition occur, which this means that there is an error. So this indicates there is any error in the program. So again leave flag is equals to 1, and at last we will again empty this buffer. Oh, it's my mistake. Buffer and here set it to 0. Okay, not here. After this else condition. Okay, now if we have exited this loop, which this means the client had left the chat room. This finally means, so if the client has left the chat room, we will close its socket file descriptor. Then we are going to remove it from the queue remove CLI UID, and then we will free up that space that we occupied using malloc. The memory we have allocated, use the malloc function, free it and reduce the number of client. Now pthread detach, detach pthread self. Okay, and return the null. Okay, so this function is completed. Let's compile it one time and see for any compilation error. Okay, now I know what's the problem. 135. I knew this. I have written it entirely correctly. Incorrectly. I need to write it like this. Now let's compile it again. So this time no compilation error, nothing. So it's running successfully, and let's see. Again try with that. Just one try with the telnet client. I hope it should work. Let's type the name. Okay, so Nikhil has joined. This name is the client is Nikhil, and here we have received the message that Nikhil has joined. So now type some message hello. So I think we should have one more client here, and then we can see it correctly. Telnet localhost 4444. Now name like Tony. So Tony has joined, and here the client has also received the message that Tony has joined. Okay, Now let's write some message. Hello. Okay, now let's Nikhil should write the message Tony, because he has seen the Tony as well. Hi Tony. So you can see Tony have received the message hi Tony. So it seems like this it's working correctly. Now when we implement the client thing, we will see it in the right fashion, right manner. So let's close this connection. It's exit now. If it's exit, okay, let's press Control C. That's the problem with this. So you can see they have left. It's correctly shown because we have closed the terminal, so it's shown as left. So that's the thing we want to print server. Now it's time for the client part. Now we'll write the client part. So some of the function that we're going to directly take from this server are these two functions. Directly take from that. And we have some global variables also. Volatile, seg atomic, t, flag is equals to 0. Char name length, and define name length. Okay, we have defined this name length, we have defined this function. Now again one more function to catch the Control C message. Catch ctrl C and exit. Now let's go inside the main function and write all the things in the main function first. Now first we'll define the signal here, SIGINT, the catch, and Control C exit function. Now we first want the client to send the name to the server. Enter your name. Okay, so we have this message, enter your name. Now we'll get the input from the client, name length, and from the std standard input. Okay. Now str trim lf name, strlen name. Okay, now we'll check if the name is correct or not. If string length name should, if it is greater than 32, means name length -1, or string length name if it is less than 2 character. Less than 2 character should not be a name. Minimum 3 characters should be required. Printf, enter name correctly. Okay, so we'll write message, or you can say enter the name, the name should be less than 30 and must be greater than 2 character. So that's up to you. So and return exit failure. Okay, so we'll exit the program here. So next is the structure, struct socket addr in server addr. Okay, next setting for the structure. Let me copy them directly from this, so we need not to them write again and again. There are the client settings, and What the hell is this? Server ADDR, server and the server. So we'll define this. Now we'll connect the client to the server. Connect to the server. Okay. Int err. Connect command socket fd. Oh, we need to change it to socket fd. Oh, just another silly mistake during copying. Struct socket addr pointer ampersand server addr size of server addr if error is equals to -1, then printf error connect has caused the error and to return exit failure. Now send the name send socket fd name length and 0. So we have sent the name. Now we'll print this message again on the client also, because it is successfully connected. So till now let's see if there's any problem. Make file all. So both the program is compiled successfully without any error warning. Let's open photo. Okay, server 44. Okay, now let's see client 4444 and name. Okay, so Nikhil has joined, and because we do not have the while loop still program here, so Nikhil has already left because the program closed. So you can see again we'll do this with the another client with a different name, Tony. So you can see Tony has joined and Tony has left because the terminal has closed. So we can see that client is working correctly. What we just need to do is to define some things here. So we will define two threads here, one for sending the message and another for receiving the message. pthread t send msg thread. Okay, if pthread create address of send message thread, again null, and third the function which is going to handle this sending message to the server. Okay, send msg handler, and last is the null. It is not equal to 0, which means there is any error in creating the thread. So printf error pthread new line character and this, and return exit failure. And like this we are going to create another thread, but for instead of sending, now we have to receive the thread. Send receive. Okay, now we'll make some changes here. Receive message, send just receive message handler, and again same thing, our while loop, which is going to make this chat infinite until some error or the client is left. While 1, if flag printf by in the new line and break, then close socket file descriptor and return exit success. Okay, so we just need to define these two functions, send message handler and receive message handler. So these two handler function are going to for the different process, one for sending the message and another for receiving the message. So let's first write one function, that is receive message handler and then send message handler. Void receive message handler. Okay, sweet. I need to check one thing here, because in receive handler server, when we created the thread, what we have done. Okay, that's here this confuses between the two. Here we have null because we aren't giving any parameters. Okay, the confusion is clear, just a little confusion. The receive message handler char message, and what's the variable we are definable? The buffer size. While one receive socket fd message buffer size and 0. Now we'll have again conditions here. If receive is greater than 0 means it's receiving something. Print the message, print %s and print the message str overwrite std output. Okay, now else if one more condition, if receive is equals to 0, now we need to break it because there's an error. Now we need to fill the message with the 0 buffer size. Now this is the receive message handler, and like this we have to create the send message handler, the handler which is going to handle the sending of the message. Void send message handler. No argument is provided with a parameter, and here we have 2 character variable buffer, buffer size and empty character message buffer size plus name length while one str overwrite std output. Okay, f gets str trim lf message buffer size. It's a little confusing with the 2 variables. Buffer the buffer size. Okay, now if strcmp buffer is exit. I think I have a little confusion. Wait, what we have not done is we haven't received the message yet from client. F gets the buffer size and the standard input. Okay, that's what I missed here. And now if the buffer message we have received is exit, then break, and else if it's not str exit, then print. Now we join some message. Oh, this should not be this, should be variable percentile s, the colon percentile s and ampersand n slash n, not ampersand s, the name of the client and the message in the buffer, the input in the buffer. Now we'll send it to the server socket fd message and 0. Okay, now I'm going to 0 out here, b0 buffer size b0 message buffer size plus name length. Okay, now we have again that function catch control exit as flag input 2. So we have written the client function correctly also. I don't think there's anything left. Now we'll just wait for the program to compile. We'll compile this program. Let's clear out this screen and just hope for the best. Okay, everything runs successfully. Just start the server and just connect the client. Okay, so the first client is connected. Now this is going to the second client. That should return client port 4444. Again the new client. Tony. Okay, so you can see when the first client has joined, so only on the server it has displayed Nikhil has joined, but when second client has joined, that's Tony, the message is sent to the first client also and also print on the server. Now see, according to this, when I just join this client and enter name here, it should be printed on the server also, on the first client and on the second client also. So let us name it Thor. So you can see Nikhil also got the message Thor has joined. On the server it has printed Thor has joined, and on that second client we have seen the message that Thor has joined. Now let the first client say hello. Okay, so Nikhil has received, so both the second and third client receives the 0, but on the server it is still haven't printed the message. So let's see, send some more message and see. Hello Nikhil. So you can see both the client receive the message. Now hello Thor and Nikhil. So you can see every client is receiving every other message. One client send the message, rest all other clients receive the message except the one who has sent the message. Okay, so you can see it's working correctly. That's how it should work. Now we'll exit the client here, the Tony. So you can see Tony has left, and we can see all the messages here. So there is some problem here and we will resolve it, but you can see if when Tony exited the first client, that is Nikhil, have the message printed is Tony has left, and on the Thor screen it was also printed the client is left exit. Okay, so let me make all the client exit. So you can see here it also printed that all the 3 clients has exited. Now let me close this, clear all the screen, and now we'll check the error. Let me pause the video. So I have corrected the mistake, and now the program works successfully. Just a little mistake of this, I will add this here, so, and some remove some things from the here also, so it looks nice. I'll compile both the program, compile successfully, run the server. Now this is the first client, name Nikhil. Now this is the second client, name Thor. Okay, you can see. Now if Nikhil send hi and Thor receives it, so you can see Nikhil send hi, Thor send hello. So now the messages are printing on the server also. Now let's say Tony has also joined the server, so you can see next message is Tony has joined, Tony has joined, Tony has joined. So Tony say hello buddies, so you can see Tony hello buddies, hello buddies. So when one client send the message, it is sent to all the clients and also print on the server. And one client, when a new client joined, it same thing is done. Every message is sent to every other client and also printed on the server. Now if we just Tony print the exit, so it will exit the server and every other client and server receive that message. Now instead of exit, if we just press Ctrl C, this will also do the same thing, because we have added signals in the program. That's why it's working correctly. Just receive signal and we have a proper message, and the program closes and the message is sent to the server other client that this client has left. Now that last client, that is the first client, also exit the program, so it has exited. So now you can see at the last Nikhil has left. So this is the basic chat room which I tried to build, and it seems that I have successfully built it. And if there's still any problem left, you can comment it. I will try to answer that query. And for more videos, subscribe this channel and also like that video and share it with your friends. And thank you. Have a nice day.